Hey Nationers, what is up? Welcome back to a brand new video. I hope you guys are having a great day. Today, I'm going to be telling a story about how I forgot my PIN code at Disneyland. And make sure to stay until the end of the video because I got a special announcement at the end of it. So make sure you guys stay for that. But nonetheless, let's get right into it. Basically, sophomore year, we go on a trip throughout orchestra. Well, actually it's every 3 years, and the third year cycle happened to be our sophomore year. And I'm in high school and I'm allowed to sign up for a high school checkings account. So that was like the purpose for going and getting a debit card. And we got it plenty of time in advance so we can actually get money instead of holding in our wallet the entire time. And I guess this was kind of like a good accelerator for getting a debit card. And what happened is our third year, so we're setting up for going to Disneyland down in Anaheim, and we've already paid everything. And I remember when we were doing the making up my PIN, we were like, hey, what's your name, blah blah blah, what's your address, blah blah blah. And so I give them all the information. My mom's there with me and I know her PIN, and I was forced to, the person there had asked me, was like, all right, so we're gonna create a PIN, you need to type it once, well wait a second, and then you need to type it again. And so, and I think the problem for me was I did not remember exactly what I typed. I just punched it in once and then waited a second and then punched it in again. So I didn't really know what I was getting my hands into. And so what basically happened is I think I created it after my mom's number. So that was my theory, is that my mom's PIN is kind of like mine, or mine's kind of like hers. And so what basically happened was I get the debit card in the mail, and what happens is I just kind of thought I would remember. And so I get my debit card and I go over, well, it's the day of, and we woke up at 6 o'clock. I make sure I have everything. And so the first incident of me using it ever was in the airport, the Spokane International Airport, where I bought something from, I think I brought a cheese Danish from Starbucks. And there, they just take your card and they put it in. And so I think what happened is I didn't need to remember it. It was just here's my card, they do it. But at most Starbucks, you just pay for it right there or swipe your phone. And so what happened is I just didn't think I needed it, okay? And this is the first time I've really dealt with a PIN. I've been given a debit card before with my mom, so that's how I know her PIN. But time goes on, we fly down to Anaheim, we get there, we get in our hotel, and what happens is we just kind of relax and we get settled in. And I think what happens is I think we go to Disneyland that day to go grab our stuff, but I don't remember exactly those details. But what happened is something really tragic. And so Nationers, I hope you guys stay until the end because this story is so good. And I just want to stop for a second because if you guys are planning on hopping off, make sure you guys watch until the end. It's super good. And so this what happens is I think I bought something at Disneyland, and at Disneyland they take your card as well, so I don't need to worry about anything of remembering my PIN. And I don't remember what kind of triggered me oh crap about I need my PIN, my 4-digit PIN code for my debit card so I can buy things. But as time goes on, Disneyland, they take your card, they put in the chip, and that's I just go about my business, right? And so what basically happens is as time goes on, I just kind of don't remember my PIN, and we're buying things. And I've bought some things like food and some normal gift type items for the family at this point. And this is basically what happens is I think we go out Disneyland and we go over to like a creamistry, which is like a I don't remember what it's about, but it's like really cold, like ice cream. Like it's really, really cold. I don't really understand it. I'll show a video like right now about it. But what basically happens is I don't think I remember my PIN then. And so I didn't really know what was going on with that. So I think somebody bought for me. And I was like, dang, like I thought I remembered my PIN. So once we head back to the hotel, which is not too far, like half a mile, I go over to an ATM after getting settled in, and I knew the ATMs, I just like plugged in my card and I'll look at like my, you know, I don't know, the balance of my debit card at the time. And I already knew how much. I have the Chase app on my phone, so I could open that. But what happened was I was sitting there for like 30 minutes just typing in a PIN that I thought it was, and it kept giving me a receipt and it said invalid PIN. And I was trying to base it off the numbers of my mom. So like if there's 4 numbers, there's 24 different combinations. So I just decided, I'm like, well, like I didn't get enough time to do that, so I'm just like not gonna worry about it. Like I kind of went with what I like thought it was, but once I realized that like it's not that, I just decided to not deal with that anymore. So as time goes on, this is basically like the side effects of it. Is I had to basically like every time I bought something outside of Anaheim, mind that we're supposed to be with somebody like 24/7, we have to be at least in a group of 3. So like I'm at least hanging out with somebody. And so me and James, if you guys haven't seen my Silverwood video, go check that out. It's gonna be right up there. James is in that video, and it's just super funny because James now is not the James then. But like him being super quiet, like, I mean, we were best friends at the time. Chase was trying to like get with a girl, so he was like all up over there. But here's what happens is we go over to like Subway. And this is like a little side story, a part of the storytelling of how I lost my PIN and did or forgot it. But I go into Subway and I just like ask James, I'm like, hey, he goes to grab his Chinese food from like a Chinese strip. There's like a strip full of like food areas. So like there's like Subway, there's like Chinese food, there's like hamburger type stuff. So it was just kind of like a nice strip full of stuff for people to eat after like Disneyland. And one thing is I had James like wait like with me in line just in case my PIN didn't work. And I'm like, hey James, like you got like $20, $10. I'm like, I don't know how much this Subway footlong is gonna cost, but can you like just wait in line with me? Like he knows my situation at this point that like I forgot my PIN, and he's like, yeah, I have $20 and whatnot. So like, hey, just like, can you be there? And if not, and if my PIN doesn't work, can you buy it? And then I'll pay you back when we get back home and figure out my PIN situation. So that's what happened is he waited in line, but my PIN fortunately went through. Or like not my PIN, I just put in the card. And that happened earlier at Panera. That's like the first thing we went to go get was our group, me, Chase, Sage, and Ashley. That was like the group that we had to stay in. And so we basically go to Panera and I buy 2 soups, and I didn't have to type in my PIN. And so I was like ready to type in my PIN, like thinking I know it, and I didn't have to. But back to the Subway story, I was getting scolded like by this guy, like just giving looks to me about what I was ordering, and like telling like the other workers like, hey, look at this sandwich. And the sandwich was an Italian herb and cheese footlong with tuna and chicken and olives and black pepper on it. And by the time, he hadn't put olives and black pepper on it yet, but it was tuna and chicken. And he's like, huh, look at this, huh, huh. And so, yeah, I don't know if he's still there or still working, but I hope he's not, because that was kind of like a dick move for him to like at least say it like after I'm gone, instead of me like hearing it while you're putting it into the toaster and then like just awkwardly looking at me like, oh crap, he probably heard me. Other than that, back to the pin story. The time that I forgot my pin down in Disneyland, we're after Subway. What basically happens is it was like the last day at Disneyland, and what basically happens is we wanted to stay there as long as we could because we knew that like we were not going to get like a whole lot of like time here ever again, at least with these people, and so we wanted to make the most of it. And I'm going over to like buy gifts, and I go alone. By the way, my phone was completely charged. My phone actually did not have like a really good battery life. Like it would die within like an hour or two. So I had to like prioritize what I wanted to do on my phone, which was kind of sucky. But nonetheless, I was able to at least like do stuff on it. But day 2, my phone completely died and nobody knew where I was. But I was with a group, so luckily that's a good thing. But other than that, day 3 comes by, late at night. I'm kind of like in a general area of people. I know where a group is, and we're all buying like gifts. So like we're like, hey, we're gonna meet back up here at like 8:30, 9:30 or something like that, something late. And I go solo, and at this point, I've learned that stuff in Disneyland, when you give them your card or when you put it into the machine to read your card, you don't need to type in a pin. It just automatically takes it and it's like, yo, what's good? And so other than that, I go alone, and I go over to a, I wanna make sure the mic's on. Okay, the mic is on. But other than that, I go over to some shops and I go buy some gifts, such as Mr. Incredible and Mrs. Incredible shirt. I got my sister a football earlier that week, or earlier of the trip. And I was like, okay, like I'm buying like a whole lot of stuff. I think I bought like $80 worth of stuff, but I bought $50 worth of shirts, the Mr. and Mrs. Incredible shirts. And then as I go buy like another item, my card gets declined. And so I'm like, wow. I'm like, oh my goodness, did I try my pin too much? Did something go wrong? Like, I'm like, why is my card getting declined? And it's never happened. This is like the first experience ever with my debit card. So I get a text on my phone. It's like, hey, like, you made a purchase of like 56 item or $55, like 37, and you type yes if this was you, and like type no or click stop and we'll cancel your card. And so I type yes, that was me. And so I decide, I'm with the lady taking like my $30 item for Caitlin, and the thing like decided to decline, like I said. So she tries, after I type yes, I told her, I'm like, hey, like I just got like a text, blah, 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 of like 55.37 of like my purchase, and make sure that's you because it's kind of like a hefty amount. And especially down in Anaheim, like the first time I ever got a card, like, I mean, obviously they're on watch for it. So that kind of happened. And so she just typed my 16-digit code or my 16-digit number onto my, into the computer, and it happened to work. So she's like, hey, like, you know, you should like, yeah, if anything happens, like, tell them like to type in your 16-digit code. And so I'm like, okay, that kind of works. And so we get back home. Okay, so like we get back home the next day. I'm exhausted. I just went to bed. And so what happens is I like was looking up how to like reset your code. It's like, oh, you gotta go to your bank and you gotta do this and you gotta do that. And I'm like, okay. So I basically have to go to the bank again. And so like, and I'm like, does it cost like money to like change a pin? Like I was like super worried about it was gonna be like a $40 charge, $30 charge. And I'm like, ugh, really? Like I just spent all this money in Disneyland. Like it's like not the time to spend more money. Like now that I'm home, I'm not buying any gifts anymore. So I guess I'm buying a new pin. But other than that, we go to the bank. Me and my mom go to the bank later that week, and I didn't really need to buy anything at that time. So like I just didn't need to use my debit card. But I decided on a pin. I was like thinking, I remember telling my dad that I'm like, oh my gosh, I know my pin. Like we have these 4-digit codes that like are in at school when you type in your lunch number, and I knew mine, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I remember, like, this is so dumb on my part. Like, I couldn't, when I first blanked when I was about to create a pin, and now I'm just flabbergasted that it was so dumb, and that I knew a pin before I even created one. And it was thanks to the school. I've had it since kindergarten, first grade, like when I had to learn it, and when I had to go up to oh goodness, the lunch when I was back in elementary school, and it carried with me all the way until I graduated. So, and now here it is back on my pin for my debit card. And so I will never forget that. I'll never forget just telling my dad, oh, I was sitting on the computer and I'm like gaming, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Dad, you know how I forgot my pin in Disneyland? Well, I'm so dumb. The school gives us 4-digit pins for lunch. Why didn't I use it then? And so that was my high-pitched voice back then. But other than that, it was just it was such a facepalm moment. It really was. And so we go to the bank, and when they're like, hey, type it in, it was literally 5 minutes. It was swipe my card, take my information, make sure that that's me, new pin, boom, 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 boom. And so I was like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That I was literally probably one of the dumbest people for about 3 weeks, 4 weeks, not knowing so I created a pin. So here's how it went. Created a pin, got my debit card, got the debit card, go to Disneyland, forget my pin, have to have somebody with me the entire time, just in case they could buy for me and I'll pay them back. Get back home, have a moment with my father about my pin, go to the bank to get a new pin. It was an 8-step process. It was really, really, really a great time, for a month. So yeah, that's basically my story of me losing my pin and forgetting, well, not losing it, but forgetting it. I never wrote it down, so that was kind of oh. But other than that, I hope you guys did enjoy today's storytelling video. If you guys want more content like this, let me know by hitting that like button, leave a comment down below, and I hope you guys have a great day. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you guys are new and enjoy the content. And yeah, I hope you guys do enjoy the rest. Make sure you guys watch more videos like this. I have plenty of storytelling videos out, so make sure you guys go check those out as well. I will be right there, so you guys can go click it. But other than that, I hope you guys have a great day. Remember to love the life you live and live the life you love. I'm TheRealJoru signing off. Have a great one. Peace.